Hi, I'm Glenn, City of Island Fishing Field Team, COAF Field Team. We're on iFishNews Fishing Podcast, and this podcast, what we have to talk about is, well, what we want to talk about is micro fly fishing. Got into it again after a little hiatus. I kind of go off and on since we got a lot of poles everywhere. We kind of lose track of which pole to use and how to do and what to do. So this last round, I was picking up some live bait, bluegill, sunfish, and whatnot using the micro fly rod. And then while at it, ended up posting a quick video on some of the fun stuff that we've been having with those micro fly rods. And when we did, had a viewer suggest that we try using one of those practice fly rods, one that you pick up from Orvis, the Practicaster. And while we did that, I like that idea where you just zip tie the fly rod, or the fly reel that you would normally use on a traditional fly rod on one of these practice fly rods. So I ended up ordering the Orvis Practicaster. And while that was coming in, we noticed that Reddington also offered one, the Reddington Form, and it came with a Rio fly line, so I ended up getting that one. So after doing so, one came in the mail, and we were able to even take it out and catch some fish off it, as well as get that video posted. The other one just came in yesterday, and we have it just right here. Go ahead and grab it here. For those on the podcast, I'm going to describe, it's basically the Orvis Practicaster. We've got a Echo Ion 2.3 weight fly line, fly reel, and then we've got a Cabela's Premium 2-weight line that we have used on it. And we've kind of played with it in the backyard already, and it casts really nicely. Was surprised how short it is. It's a short rod compared to the Reddington Form. The Reddington comes in at 50 inches. This one looks like it's basically about 3 feet or less. I haven't measured it, but it's a nice casting one. So we'll get some video out there on how the different rods do for us. But as we're talking micro fishing, micro fly rods in particular, we'll just kind of do a real quick rundown in preparations for that follow-on video that we'll get out there. And so we'll just go ahead and walk through the evolution of the micro fly rod and micro fly fishing that we've been getting into. Okay. So let's start off. How do we get into it? I saw a video as well as a article online talking about micro fly rods, and one of them that we saw was pretty expensive. I think it was like 125, 150 bucks, and well, we said that's a little bit too much. And then we saw one made by Penn Rod that they offered, and that looked pretty good. Just kind of looked a little bit different than what we wanted. So luckily, we did have a Penn rod already. And from that, we were able to make one ourselves. Go grab it here. So for those on the podcast, it's basically a Penn rod with some tennis grip, and we kind of flip-flop the reel seat so that we can use it more as a little fly reel or fly rod setup. And it casts nicely. Only thing that we didn't like about it is the rings right here are kind of tiny for the fly line. You have to use a pretty thin fly line for casting this. And what we do like though is it's compact. It does fit in our little work backpack that we'll keep it in, so we have it at the handy. All right, so that is the initial one that we made right here. And then from there, because you're always trying different things and whatnot, ended up getting another one because luckily we had several Penn rods. And ended up getting this guy, little mini fly reel that we picked up off of Amazon, or I think it was back then a guy who used to sell Go Fast and Light, who went out of business, but we were picking up the little fly reels from him, but now we just go through Amazon. And what we've done here is we just removed the reel seat completely, and all we're using is the rod itself. Still have the tennis grip as the rod handle, and it still collapses. The only thing is we removed the original grips and went ahead and did put our own guides on there. So these are normal fly fishing guides or fly rod guides, and this one collapses as well. And this has worked really well for us as well. And, oh, by the way, this is one that we can collapse and keep in our work backpack too for those times when we need to go take a break and do some fishing. Okay, so that is the second of the fly rods, micro fly rods that we have been using. From there, we kind of jumped into two things. One we ended up taking about a year, I think it was, just off and on building one ourselves, and then just out of the blue made one on the fly because we broke a fly rod. So the one that we built, that one was made with, grab it here, an ice fishing blank right here. For those on the podcast listening in, it's a ice fishing blank. We picked it up from Netcraft. And it's one that they use for, I think it's like musky fishing, or not musky, pike and a larger size fish. This one, oops, excuse me. This one has a nice little whippy action to it, and we've used this as well. And what we've done is an B&M crappie reel and a Fuji reel seat that kind of clips on, and you can clip it on and off. And we got this one mainly because it's a smaller size one that can fit this little crappie reel. And we made a handle out of wine corks, and kind of put it on the handle itself, or made the handle, and it's just come out pretty good too. We've used this off and on over the years. All right, and this is just ice fishing blank. Okay, and then a wine cork handle. All right, and then next up is the one that we were mentioning where we broke an 8-weight fly rod. So broke an 8-weight fly rod, and well, we don't like throwing things away, especially related to fishing stuff. So I ended up taking the top section of the fly rod, and again, a little tennis grip handle, and from an old pen rod that we had. Well, we did have several pen rods, and then this micro fly reel right here. And I think we've got an article on how we made the one posted on Hub Pages. So if you want to take some detailed look on how to do it, go check out that article. We'll put a little link in the YouTube version of this post. Actually, we'll also put it on the iFishNews fishing portion as well on that website that we have, iFishNews. Okay, so this one has been one that we actually keep at the ready in the car. It casts really well. We've caught some good sized catfish on this one in some local ponds. So this is the next one in our evolution of the micro fly rod and micro fly fishing. Okay, so like we were saying, we were out fishing and posted a video, and then someone suggested a viewer. Thank you, viewer. And oh, by the way, we really like it. We've tried the Reddington form. Let's go grab that one. And in this case, it came with a Rio made for this rod fly line. And it has a built-in leader that narrows, but it's a fairly heavy fly line. And it almost feels like you're casting sort of a slower fiberglass rod, even though I'm not sure if it's fiberglass or not. But it does feel, or when we're casting, it does feel like that. And because it has this larger fly line, almost like a shooting head, we ended up putting a Martin fly reel on it. So this is a larger size fly reel for what we'd normally put. We were wanting to put one of our little micro fly reels on there, but unfortunately it didn't fit. But this has already worked for us. Taken out several times now and caught some bluegill, sunfish, and do not feel undergunned. Do not feel like we're missing out on the fly fishing opportunity. And oh, by the way, it breaks into two, so it's a very compact unit that you can keep in your little pickup truck, like yours truly does, or in your car or whatnot, and you'll have it at the ready. So, for a quick do-it-yourself, let's go ahead and get into micro fly rod and micro fly fishing. Do give this one a try. Reddington form, zip tie your fly reel on there, and you'll be good to go. And it does come with a line itself that you just need to adjust and add your little tippet section for it. Let's see. Oh, talking of the leader, we'll get to that. Let's go get to that last one that we still need to test. We still need to test. Air quotes. Okay, so this is the Orvis practic caster, and of all the rods that we've had so far, other than that 2-weight, or correction, that 2-piece one, this one actually feels like a really good fly rod that we've used. And all we did was a zip tie, a little 2-3 weight Echo Ion fly reel. It's got a 2-weight Cabela's premium line, and for the tippet, or for the leader, this one is made with about 18 inches of 30-pound test, followed by 14 or more like 18 inches of 14, or 14, and then we've got about a 8-inch tippet section. And so far this has been casting really nicely. We like it. May kind of adjust it a little bit with adding a 50-pound butt section, because we kind of like it a little bit heavy on the butt section end when we're using these little rods. So far we've done that with the Reddington, we've done that with the 2-piece fly rod, and both of them have been doing an excellent, been casting most excellent. Okay. Also with that 50-pound butt section, it does have a really high-vis yellow color to it, so it's almost like a light line strike indicator. So this one, our plans are, we'll go ahead and do a little, maybe a video, follow-on video that just shows how these cast with each one, and hopefully that'll give you an idea. If you're interested and maybe you want to get into it quickly, go get you one of those. And if not, maybe you have a broken 8-weight fly rod, go ahead and take the upper 2 sections of it and see if you can put on a little micro fly reel to it. And oh, by the way, we did hear that some folks have been adding their own reel seat to it, like a little butt section, and adding the fly reel themselves to it. That's a great idea, but for just getting out there quickly, a couple of zip ties, put on your fly reel, and you're ready to go. So do stay tuned for that follow-on video on how these fly rods work and how they feel, at least from our dealings with it. So we'll give you a video there, just a demo. Yeah, we'll call it the micro fly fishing demo. All right, and then let's go ahead and just close out things with, well, you need to have one, a leader. And we tend to make our own leaders instead of buying them. So we'll just get that 50-pound spool. We got that 30-pound spool as well, of some monofilament line, and then a 14, and then a 4. So in the case of the 30-pound one, we use basically tri-lane right here, just a real simple one. And this one is the butt section, about 18 inches. Then we'll follow with a 14-pound mono of tri-lane as well, right here. And then, and I think this last one that we used for that 2-piece, as well as the Reddington form, was 18 inches of the 30-pound, or correction, 50-pound, but you can use 30. I think they'll both work. Just we kind of tend to like the 50-pound because of that high-vis yellow, and we use it more like a line strike indicator, and then it just gives that extra weight or extra oomph when you're getting it out there with that short rod. And then finally, for the tippet section, we're just using some 4-pound mono as well. All right, so all for now. We do hope that you find that this was helpful. If you want to get into micro fly rods and micro fly fishing, do give it a try. You want to get there quickly, you've got that option from a Reddington form, as well as the Orvis practice caster, as well as you can make your own DIY ones. Do take a look at that article. We'll post it again in some links of this video description, and from there, hopefully, maybe y'all can send some feedback as to how it worked for you. Maybe catching a fish or two. All right, all for now. Until next time, we'll catch y'all later, and good luck and good fishing.